All right. Hello, hello. We are just going to wait for a few more people to join, but then we'll get started. But thank you everyone for coming here today. We'll just give it another minute or so and let people open the link. Hi, Megan.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Good. And we have Claire helping coordinate the background. So Claire, I'll let you tell us when you think we are good to go, and we will get this started. And of course, as those who are coming in, you'll see Claire would have just posted a message in the channel for everyone, but the chat is there, and we'd love to get questions from you as we go through this. So please don't hesitate to ask any questions at all. And if time permits, we'll get to them today. If not, we'll also make sure that every question does get answered in the follow-ups that will get sent to everyone after the webinar. And hopefully I'm coming through audio-wise okay. Megan, do I sound okay to you?
You sound great. How about me? All good?
Perfect. Amazing.
All right.
Always sometimes when I'm traveling at the moment and on hotel Wi-Fi, which can sometimes be spotty. So happy to hear it's working. All right. Well, a couple minutes in, I think we are good to go. So welcome everyone. Really excited to have you all here today for our discussion on how both RepSpark and ENDVR are helping brands achieve their long-term success. So I'm Steve Gendron. I'm the CEO of ENDVR. And after spending, nearly 20 years in the retail industry, I had the chance to really, experience firsthand the challenges that brands face when trying to scale up their wholesale businesses. Really just like RepSpark, and both RepSpark and ENDVR were created with that single goal in mind, to really empower brands with the tools that they need to grow their business sustainably while supporting their partners at every level, from the retailers to those frontline employees. So today's conversation is all about tech and how tech can help drive that growth. Meghan's going to really do a great job introducing RepSpark, but they have really transformed the wholesale process by making it so easy for brands to connect with the retailers, their retailers, streamline order management, and help drive revenue. Whereas over at ENDVR, we're really focusing on empowering those retail sales associates through education, through incentives, just really helping ensure that brands can create stronger in-store advocacy to support those sales. We really know that brands that actively invest in tech, like RepSpark and ENDVR, are seeing real measurable results. And not to steal any thunder here, but RepSpark has helped brands grow their B2B revenue by an impressive 350%, which is incredible. While ENDVR is helping brands deliver a pretty remarkable 35-to-1 average return on associate spend, which is our version of return on ad spend. So these platforms are really complementary to each other. They're really supporting complementary pain points and can really work seamlessly together, helping brands achieve their goals, all while improving efficiency and driving performance in store. So with that intro, with those insights, really excited to introduce Meghann Butcher, the CEO and founder of RepSpark. Meghann has spent over 17 years revolutionizing wholesale e-commerce for brands in the apparel and accessories and footwear industries. So Meghann, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me here and putting this together for us to, again, be able to dig into how technology can really help drive all different facets of wholesale. Every time I talk to you, Steve, I get more excited about how, the platforms are very complementary in the solution set, and it's really exciting. But a brief history on RepSpark. We, as Steve said, have been here a long time. We have helped a lot of brands on their wholesale journey. So brands that are just starting moving from direct to consumer into wholesale, and then brands that are scaling their wholesale business, and then brands that are really trying to take it to that next level, grow into different areas of the globe, different regions, different languages, all sorts of things. So seen a lot and helped a lot of different facets. Where we started, the pain points were really in order entry. So we started 17 years ago where from a brand where the customer service team was receiving orders with errors, orders that didn't have inventory, colors that didn't exist, that sort of thing. So we started there. We started with reporting, and then we started moving into what does it look like to put a proper assortment together for an individual retailer? What does it look like to drive their business? Let's think with the retailer in mind, putting together a specific catalog. So you're not handing a retailer, a 1,000-page catalog when they really only buy, a certain subset of product. So, how do we make sure that we're smart in the assortments that we're giving and delivering? And then, it's just evolved from there. Now the retail buyers can log in, they can place their own reorders, they can look at inventory, they can look at assortments, they can check to see if a product is being shipped, and all the way to the end where they can now actually pay for that order, pay an invoice through the platform too. So yeah, it's been a fun ride. It's changed over the years, and just really focusing on the sales reps, data migration, ability to connect those direct to consumer Shopify type accounts into wholesale as well. And then the AR hub and microsites and all sorts of other things. So yeah, really excited to be here and talking to everyone today.
Well, that's awesome. And I'll provide a brief kind of background on how ENDVR came to be, but just hearing you say that really resonated. Like, of course, my background before helping get this going was working on the brand side of things, owning a sales agency up here in Montreal for about 20 years. So I really had a chance to live all those pain points that you just described firsthand. And so, yeah, I had that company for, I guess, nearly 20 years before getting this started, and had the opportunity to work with some amazing brands like Tom Shoes, Liberty Skis, Havaiana Sandals, and a ton more. And really, from where I was sitting on the brand side, I learned that if you want to win the war on the store floor, once your products have been sold in, there are really kind of like 3 non-negotiable things you got to do. You need to make sure your brand looks good, so merchandise properly at every point of sale and have all the supporting elements to be set up correctly. You need to ensure that sales associates know your products. Consumers are better informed than ever. They've done their homework. They've done so much research on all the different brands, but over 60% of them walk into a store to make a purchase without a specific brand in mind. So they're really going in there to look for guidance and look for, someone to help them finish their buying journey. So just so critical that everyone who's in that position to influence a purchasing decision knows your brand story, is able to look a customer in the eye and tell them why your product is the best one for them. And then, of course, those associates need to be motivated to sell. As a brand, you can spend all the money in the world that you'd like on creating general brand awareness, but more often than not, what that consumer is going to walk to the cash register with will come down to the associate who's serving them. So you really got to get those associates on your side. And that's everything I just said is critical. It's so important, but as anyone who's spent time on the brand side knows, it's just really hard to do when you have so many points of sale over such large territories. And that really is why we built ENDVR, was to allow brands and retailers to build that direct connection with sales associates, meet them on their phone, and reward them with things like instant cash, pro deals, free products, or prizes when they elevate your brand in store, when they learn about your products, and then when they sell more of a shift. All, of course, with data that brands can use, measurable ROI, data and analytics that they can use to help increase sales even more at every point of sale. So why don't I dive into the first question, Meghann, if that's cool with you?
Yeah, well, real quick, I think I just wanted to add something hearing that,
course,
Steve. I think it's bringing to mind, like, you guys are really the tip of the spear, right? Like, you can do, like you said, you can get everything, you can do whatever you can to get that product in that store. But at the end of the day, that sales associate's going to sell the product that either they like the most, or they feel most comfortable or knowledge about. I mean, we all, as humans, go back to what we feel most comfortable with. And it's just really cool to hear that, and then circle it back to, the more that the sales associates are invested in your product, I mean, that's just more, that's either more floor space, rack space, those are more reorders, that's more positive sell-through. It's just really cool how it comes like all the way back around again.
Totally, totally, right. And again, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it quite a bit over the next few minutes here, but just, it all starts with getting the product in the store. And like that really is step one in the whole process, making it so easy to make sure the retailers are equipped with the right product, that they're getting them, on time, they're making it as easy as possible, and having, again, spent time on the retail side of things too, doing buying and trying to manage your inventory, like, not easy. It's a challenge, and I've lived it as well. So definitely all begins with the great work that you guys are doing there. Right. So, speaking of that and the great work you're doing, you really have revolutionized how brands, connect and transact with retailers throughout, through your streamlined wholesale e-commerce solutions. I'm just hoping you can share a little bit about how your platform has transformed the wholesale process for brands like Stance or Grayson or Elspace, and what impact that's had on their growth.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, it's kind of changed throughout the years. And as wholesale itself has matured and gotten the same or similar attention to that direct to consumer, where you really have to be sharing that brand story all the way out to the retailers to allow them to engage and place their own orders too. So yeah, it's cool how it started with sales rep focus, then B2B focus, and then COVID came and everyone thought, where's brick and mortar? Is that still going to happen? So, we created a really easy way to make digital catalogs and really focused digital catalogs. And then as we've seen, wholesale is totally back and people want to be in the stores, and there really needs to be that really close relationship between that direct to consumer experience and the wholesale experience, and marrying the two together. So it's fun to see how the pendulum swings, and just really how it ends up. But with some of the brands that we've had, they've experienced just an insane average order value. So we found when a retailer can really rely on you as a brand, when a retailer can really either self-serve when they want to, or connect with a rep with some sort of intelligent selling process, the average order volume has really grown. We've seen 60-70% average order growth with some of our brands. The reorder value and the reorder frequency has also increased. Of course, going back to the sell-through, that's the ENDVR is so critical in, but really being able to get those orders there on time, get them in the store, and then get them out of the store so that that reorder process can happen as well. We've also seen a ton of B2B growth. So we have brands, or on average, a brand has about 350% B2B growth, just because that buyer, again, maybe they're taking their inventory count, at midnight before a sale, and they need to go in and place a reorder, and they don't want to track down their rep, and they don't want to track down customer support or customer service. They're in there, they want to come in, they want to do it quickly. And RepSpark really can facilitate that. And then we've seen a 286% unit order increase with some of our brands. So again, just talking to that, hey, we trust you, we see, we have visibility, we know when we're getting things, we know when we're not getting things, just that communication conduit as well. Elspace is a really cool one. Where they've seen a ton of efficiencies with their catalogs. So as they have moved into different markets and verticals, they also have very different products for very, very different regions of the country, as well as they have athleisure, they have what I would say more of like a fashion feel, and then they have some that are just really straight swim, bikini. And they were able to create one catalog and then kind of slice and dice it and put it for their different regions, locations, focuses. They've embedded video. So they've had a huge savings just on printing those paper catalogs that just didn't make sense anymore. So lots of different places where we've seen brands either decrease expenditures, increase efficiencies, or just increase that order volume and order repetition.
That's awesome. And you talked about kind of like the evolution of the industry, but just it comes down to when you think of the B2B, that what expectations are today, or even anyone is on that buying side, and they just they want it to be so easy and seamless for them to get the data and the insights that they need to make fast, effective decisions.
Yep.
Making sure that it's packaged and in their hands when they need it, so they can, kind of pull the trigger on making the right choices and making sure they're best positioned to succeed. Like, that's huge, right? It's everything. And it's the foundation of this all, is they have to have that data, have the insight to make the right decisions to grow. So love that so much.
Yeah, it's cool. Okay, I have one for you. So
Hmm.
ENDVR has an impressive track record of engaging retail associates directly to boost in-store sales. How has this direct connection between the brands and the sales associates, like the one with Mountain Hardware, contributed to increased sales and better retail performance?
Um, it's funny when I look back at what I did before this. I loved getting in store and getting FaceTime with sales associates, getting them excited about our brand. And I liked it so much. It was just great to meet so many amazing people and kind of hear their stories and be able to connect with them. But we also knew from like a business perspective that, if you were to get in there and build those connections, they are going to become more passionate about your brand, about your story, about your products. It's just a really difficult thing to do. And, we didn't build ENDVR the mindset of trying to replace building in-person connections between a brand, their brand reps, their field teams, and those stores and frontline employees. It was really all about amplifying it, just making it so easy for brands to connect with those individuals who are on the store floor talking to potential customers every day. And just, as I kind of alluded to in the beginning, making sure that they can easily have the connection points with them and make sure they can educate them on an ongoing basis. I used to love going and doing the clinics that I would do at the start of the ski season or every spring when, the latest collection of Toms came out. But you can only get to so many stores. Like, it's just impossible to go and get that FaceTime in with every single store in a timely fashion. We as a company, we're based in Montreal, and that's where I ran my sales agency. But I would have stores, and I've told the story a million times, that would be like a 4-hour flight away from where I was based in Montreal. So trying to get to them and to meet their staff and to build those relationships was just hard to do. Like, I might see them once a year on a good year. And so that is where we wanted to build this platform, is to amplify all of those connections, to make sure that a brand could provide the education to anyone who's in a position to influence a purchasing decision all year long. Make sure they had the foundations of all the info they need to properly sell the product. And then, of course, have the regular ongoing touch points with those individuals to make sure that they have the latest information, that they know when the second release or third drop hits their shelves, that the information's fresh, and they're ready to, again, look a customer in the eye and tell that story. So this really all comes down to just building those connections. And it's just, again, a hard thing to do, and the challenge that we are trying to overcome, and just make it as easy and simple as possible for the brands to connect with those frontline employees and make sure they're equipped to sell, make sure they're empowered to help elevate the brand. And again, make sure they're motivated with rewards that they actually want. Things like those instant cash rewards, the free products, the product discounts for learning about a brand. We just make it so easy for brands to offer those rewards up to frontline employees that it makes such a difference. And we make the connections easy and make the benefits of those connections that much more powerful. So yeah, it's just really about building the pipeline between the two groups and all the groups, and ideally, elevating all the major stakeholders in the process. Helping drive increased sales for the brands, helping the retailers get a better informed, higher motivated workforce that's delivering a great customer experience every shift. And then, of course, for the sales associates, making sure that they're getting rewarded for the hard work that they're putting in every single day on the store floor.
Yeah, I love how you mentioned the word or the word replace, right? That's the whole thing. Like, is technology going to replace things? And we combated that a little bit in the beginning too, where some of the sales reps that worked for the brands, they were like, are you going to replace us? are we going to be needed anymore? And they are still so necessary. I mean,
Of course.
it's not a replacement. I love how you said that. It's an amplification. It is just making everybody's job easier, more seamless, more visible. And just it's not there are so many retail locations, and how do you reach all of them with that same level of service? And I just, that really resonated with me. And the other thing you said is just connections. Like the connections are so important. Like how do you connect the brand to the retailer, the brand to that frontline associate? And again, just make sure everybody is aware of that brand story and telling it properly, because those connections are so important, because those brand associates are going to be the ones most likely having the connection with your end consumer. It's probably not the sales rep. It's probably maybe not even the person who was buying the product. It's that person on the floor. And yeah, it's all about connections, and I love amplification. It was really cool.
No, 100%. And, we've kind of had the same conversations with reps and being like, oh, maybe, I don't want to say a genuine worry, but a worry, like if we were kind of going to be impacting them. And it really is the exact opposite. We really talk about how we empower them, give them data and insights that they can use to focus on the partners, the retail partners that really need their help, or focus on the ones that are the opportunities to maybe proactively inform them that there's an opportunity for a reorder or to rebalance their stock mix. It's all about providing them with data and insights so they can better support their retailers. Just really making their jobs more efficient and more effective is the goal here.
Yep, for sure.
And so, yeah, we talked about it earlier, how both RepSpark and ENDVR focus on empowering different aspects of the retail experience. So curious to hear how you see the seamless integration of the two platforms and how it can benefit the brands, especially in improving communication between the brands, retailers, and associates.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a little bit repetitive, but RepSpark, it's really it's the back office. It's that old back office of putting the orders in, making sure the orders are right. That work of the sales rep to make sure that there is the proper product mix, to make sure that those assortments that are in the store correct. So there's that back office facilitation that RepSpark has before the order shipped, and then after the order is shipped. So being able to look at reports and have that data, look at invoices, look at orders, order status, that sort of thing. But what RepSpark doesn't really handle is that, again, that tip of the spear, like what's happening at that store, and what's going on there. And so that's why I think the two work really hand in hand. As RepSpark kind of stops with that sales rep or buyer, that's where ENDVR kind of picks up, that rest of that wholesale journey, really.
Yeah, I love it. It is the full circle, right? It's about making sure it's seamless and easy to get product in, and then effective and efficiently trying to move it out so that whole process can just repeat again, get more orders coming through, and totally love it. And it's funny, we talk about, the data and insights that you get. And of course, we have some great data and insights too. Something that on our platform that I love is even like the anecdotal insight that brands can get, the ability just to go to a frontline employee and say, hey, like, what are you seeing and hearing? Like, you're talking to customers every day. We can see the data. We see the reorders, we see what's selling through, but what are customers saying? What are they looking for? What are they interested in? It's that secondary data too, and the data points that brands can get access to help them, again, make sure that their retailers are set up for success, that their partners are ready to sell as much product as possible.
Yeah. And I mean, that is so important, right? Like, how often does a sales rep have the opportunity to really hear that direct frontline feedback from those sales associates that are talking, hey, the sizing's different this year. I mean, hey, did you think of making this in red? And, you see that 25 times, the brand might say, gosh, we never thought about making that in red. But unless there's really a way to facilitate that sort of communication, the brand's just never going to hear it. I mean, the buyer may reach out to the brand and say, oh, my sales associate said this to me. He said, but that's just a tree of with so much going on, that's bound to get lost if there isn't a way to really facilitate that frontline communication feedback loop.
Totally.
It's really
It's
cool. It's really important for the brands to hear that.
it becomes a game of broken telephone if it happens at all, if that
Right.
information can make it from the floor to the buyer, to the rep, to the marketing director or sales director and the product team. Like it just, yeah. And so it's such important insight, those frontline employees have. It's, they really do see and hear so much every single shift, and incredible insight that everyone can benefit from.
Gosh, I could just see myself as like the merchandising team, just like salivating over like what's coming in as I'm like planning next season's, colors and what do we want as a carryover product, and how many more orders do I need to place for this specific product? Just hearing that again, that inside information, that's really cool. I actually never really thought about that till we just did that, but very, very cool. Okay, so ENDVR's had a ton of impact on sales associates, but tell me a little bit about the impact it's had on sales contest, and like how reorder increases because of these is really huge for brands. And then how do you think the brands can leverage these kind of results in combinations with RepSpark's expanded retailer network to scale the success even further?
Yeah, and again, I touched on some of the stuff for sure, getting the data, even the anecdotal data and feedback and insights that people are seeing on the store floor. But, we, from like a pure data perspective, we know kind of at a fundamental level, and you touched on it earlier, that associates kind of sell what they're comfortable with. And of course, that means they're selling what they know. The idea is that they can tell you 10 things about this product and not so much about this one. They're not going to sell so much of this one. They're going to really focus on the one where they can really look the customer in the eye and provide a great experience for them. So, we've seen and through running some surveys with our clients and about the and the frontline employees in their stores, about the impact that properly run campaigns on ENDVR can have on increasing sell-through, as well as doing things like increasing selling price. So, again, it's foundation about building, having the education out there so that everyone understands your products. They know and feel comfortable to look a customer in the eye and speak to them, and the right motivation to actually work hard and sell products every shift. So, we've had some incredible data come back our way, like brands seeing a 33% increase in average selling price. And really what that means is that associates feel empowered, and with the incentive programs in place, motivated to even help guide customers to the more expensive products. And sometimes, a natural reaction could be to default to the easy sale. Like, this is going to be low cost. Let's just, I can steer them here. And of course, the more expensive products also can tend to be more technical, and you need to explain and justify why the customer would probably benefit from moving into that product. So with the right education and with the right incentive programs in place, we're seeing with hard data how associates feel more comfortable and empowered to recommend those products that they wouldn't maybe be so inclined to be referring every single day. And then beyond that, as I mentioned earlier, our sales incentive programs and our education and everything else that we do is helping increase sell-through. We have some incredible data from some of our brand partners about the increase in year-over-year same-store sales that our platform is delivering. When an associate is incentivized properly to help push your product, they will sell more of it. They are more excited about introducing a customer to your product. So, some of the data points we've got back have seen some brands, when they have a combination of these campaigns active and live, seeing a 44% increase in reorder sales. So just really incredible data that we are seeing come back into back to us and back to our brands. And again, going back to that cycle, this is where it all just is so critical that the brands and the retailers have access to that data, have access to that insight, and so they can very easily, get reorders back into store to make sure the right product mixes are there, and those associates are again ready to help sell more product.
So who kind of, and this is just my lack of knowledge, I'm just kind of interested now, who sets up the contest? Like, who does the sales associate decide what they want to do? Does the brand come out and kind of drive that? Like, how does that all work?
So it can be brand led or retailer led.
Okay.
More often than not, for us today, it is the brands putting these programs together. So again, a brand might map out their year and say, okay, I'm going to build my evergreen education content to make sure that anyone is in a position to influence a purchasing decision has the 101s, and then supplement that on a quarterly basis with, seasonal product information, product updates, etc. And then from the sales incentive perspective, most, as I mentioned, are driven by brands. And we do have some that run kind of longer season-long campaigns. We have others that run kind of shorter campaigns focused on certain categories. But it is the brands that are creating these and putting them out there into market. And it's really similar if you think about how a digital marketer might like A/B test certain programs. So they may have certain versions of sales incentive programs running with categories or different regions. Maybe they have a version for their tier 1 accounts and a different version for a tier 2, or maybe one for my city accounts and one for my resort accounts, that with different timing. But we really give them the ability to A/B test and see what works and see what moves the needle. What types of rewards and incentives are going to have the greatest impact, measure it, and then iterate on it for future campaigns. So we do allow brands to, or for the most part, I should say brands are the ones building these and getting them out there into their market. But at the same time, we do work with big retailers and empower them to run their own sales incentive programs as well, but sponsored by the brands. So it puts them in the driver's seat to say, hey, we want to focus on this category. We want to help drive sales here. And we want our brands to help reward our employees when they do sell their products every shift. But primarily the brands is the short answer to your question.
Cool.
Yep.
That's cool. So they can really kind of, like you said, level up and put the focus on their more expensive items, which are typically need a better sale, right? They need a more knowledgeable sales associate, or more explanation again to justify a price or why they want, that more technical product. And that's cool. Very cool.
Yep. No, all right. So I think we've gotten through all of our questions that we had here, Meghann, as I'm looking at my list.
I know, we're just going to keep going around and talking about that flywheel that you get spinning. And yeah,
it is such an important flywheel. I mean, it's
yes.
the foundation of everything here. So, no, that's awesome. And I think we did have a couple questions come in. So again, if anyone does have any questions, please submit them and we will try to get to them. But we did have a couple come in, so maybe I will jump to those. And I think this first one is going to be, looks like it is going to be for you, so I can get to that. And it is, Proforma sells decorated apparel and merch to our corporate clients. How can you assist us with better access to the retail brands that normally do not offer wholesale accounts with promotional distributors? That makes
So yeah, we do work with a lot of different brands who work with corporate accounts. And I think this is the question, who work with corporate accounts and maybe don't publicize that. And we do work with a lot of brands who will, kind of do the corporate model or licensed model as well, with specific entities. So if you go into the RepSpark community, there's an area called the microsites, and that's typically the brands that it will be interested, if you use that filter. Those are typically the brands that'll be interested in doing some sort of corporate gear that's customized. But again, inside of the RepSpark community, and if you want more information, reach out to customer support on how to get in there. You can typically see all the different brands. And then with each of their community cards, they will typically list, what they're interested in doing, selling corporate, selling license, who they typically serve. You can get a little preview of assortments and catalogs there too. So that RepSpark community, I would say, is the best place to go to really get that huge list of brands that you could start connecting with.
awesome. We got another question here, and I think it's for both of us. And it is, from the perspective of both RepSpark and ENDVR, how do you envision the integration of digital tools in influencing the future of brick and mortar retail experiences? Ooh. You want to kick it off?
I'll kick it off. I mean, I think, like I kind of touched on it before, where, COVID had that whole moment. I'm sure we've all read it in the news, or read it in the news at that point in time, like, will brick and mortar survive, blah, blah, blah. But I think technology just makes it smarter or makes those retailers and sales reps smarter. Having that data of what is selling through, what's selling through quickly, what is being reordered, what the sales associates are seeing selling quickly, just allows those retailers to be smarter with what they are putting in their store. And also just more proactive as product is moving, to be able to replace that product quicker, or say, wow, that sold out in 2 days. I had no idea. I'm going to triple my reorder, things like that, where just having that visibility at their fingertips, I think is just, it's going to make retail survive in a different way because they can be smarter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Spot on. Tough to add too much more to that. I think it's cool when you look at both of our platforms. I think we both looked at taking what were manual processes in this ecosystem and digitizing them and making them that much more effective and that much more efficient. And that really is what it's all about. And when you can make these processes effective, efficient, and more insightful by making sure that all the stakeholders are getting the data they need to make decisions in a timely manner to help improve their business, that raises the entire industry up with it. So yeah, I think your response was spot on, and yeah, just it's critical that the ecosystem, that the entire industry embraces technology to find those efficiencies, and when they do, and as they do, I definitely think it's going to improve the experience for everyone, all the stakeholders, of course, brands, retailers, reps, sales associates, and of course the consumers who are continuing to walk into stores every single day to finish their buying journey.
Yeah, I mean, imagine, that consumer is going to continue to go to that retail establishment if they find, again, that right product mix, if they find the product on the store, because if the store doesn't have the size or can't order it really quickly, they're going to go somewhere else. And then when they talk to a knowledgeable sales associate who knows what they're talking about, that they rely on. Now it's almost like this trusted advisor. So the next time they need something, they're going to go back to that store because they can't just find it online. I mean, we can all read something online, but to really talk and have that conversation. So yeah, I think technology aids in all of that.
Oh, I think I lost you there for a second. I don't know, maybe I disappeared or maybe you disappeared, but
Are we back? I'm back.
we're
Are you back? Okay.
I got a message saying my internet is unstable. Oh no.
Oh, you're back. We're good.
Perfect. Sorry about that. I might have missed the last little bit, but sure it was great.
Oh, good.
Amazing. Well, Meghann, thank you so much. Really appreciate you being here today and sharing all your insights on how RepSpark is driving the wholesale process. Such incredible perspectives on how the right tech can empower brands to help them reach their long-term goals. And I know we covered a lot today, so I hope everyone here has found this call and this discussion as insightful as I have. But again, we do want to hear from you. So if you have questions, please share them through the channels. We will try to get to them after the fact. We'll be doing follow-ups. We'll be sharing this webinar with everyone. And any questions that came in, we'll make sure we get those answered there as we do share. So Meghann, thank you so much.
Thanks again for having me. It's great discussion, awesome topics, and yeah, thanks for having me here today.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for joining us here today. Really appreciate it. And we'll speak to you soon. Take care.
Bye.